On today's episode of Locked On 76ers, Keith and I, dissect the schedule. The schedule is out. We're going to break down all 82 games right here. Just kidding. Locked On 76ers.
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome. You are Locked On 76ers. I'm Devon Givens from 97.5 The Fanatic Radio here in Philadelphia, alongside my co-host and partner, as always, from the Enquirer, Enquirer.com, Sixers beat writer, Keith Pompey. What's up, Keith?
What's poppin', D? How you been, bro?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good for Friday. Getting ready for the weekend. Should be a nice weather weekend. Hopefully everything works out, man. We thank everybody for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including right here on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Keith, well, it's that time where we have to break down the season schedule. We had some little droppings before for Christmas Day, opening day, the in-season tournament. Now we have the full 82, and it's time for us to break each and every game down. Folks, this is going to be a 6-hour podcast as we break this down. Now later on, we'll get into the latest on James Harden, talking about China staying over there. Keith had a story on that. But no, let's get into the 23-24 campaign and some of the highlights of the schedule. We'll break it down into two segments, and then later on, we'll get into James Harden. But Keith, we already knew, again, Christmas Day, opening day, the play-in tournament, the 4 games from that, the play-in tournament dates. We know that in general for the entire NBA as everybody tries to get to Las Vegas. But some highlights for you, man, for this particular season as the schedule drops.
You know, the thing that I liked, I guess the thing that stood out to me the most on this schedule was that it seems like the league is banking on the Embiid and Nikola Jokic matchup. The last time we talked about scheduling, I was like, they should have played on Christmas Day. But if you notice, they got a game. I believe one game is January the 16th, and then the next game is January the 27th on national TV. So I like that, man, because it's all about the matchup. Both of them on national TV. So to me, it's kind of like the league is like saying, hey, look, the center position is back. Here's the 2 MVPs. We won them on prime time. We won them on the games. And even the good part about the game on the 27th is that's 5:30 on a weekend. I believe it's a Sunday.
Saturday,
5:30 on a Saturday. So like when you hear these 5:30 games, like it's great because that's for Europe too. Like they got it because they want it to be international. So this is a marquee game. I really like that. The one thing is, another thing that stood out to me was the games in the beginning of the season. So you look at it, what they do is they'll have 2 games on the road, and the 8 of their next 9 games are at home, right? And when you look at that, you think about the Milwaukee game, you know, you're going to favor Milwaukee. Toronto is game number 2. Well, they should, win that one. But outside of that, those other games that they have, only 2, the tough games to me in that mix are Phoenix once and 2 games against Boston. So I think the Sixers, for a team right now, not knowing what James Harden's status is, a team with a new coach trying to get the chemistry in the mix and all that, this is a good way to start out. But then later on in the season, they got a tough stretch on the road. They have a tough stretch on the road. But those are the things that really stood out to me.
The Jokic game, the 5:30 game, that's in Denver on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And if you remember when Embiid had that 40-plus point performance dominated Jokic in that Saturday game here in Philadelphia this Saturday. I think it was a 2:30 start time here. So now the 5:30 start time in Denver for this marquee matchup. And it's also, Keith, it's part of rivalry
That's a
week.
5:30, but that's a 5:30 Eastern Conference start.
Eastern, yes,
Yeah,
Eastern
so it's
time,
3:30 over there.
3:30 in Denver. But it's also a rivalry week game
Mm-hmm.
as part of the rivalry week because of, as you pointed out, the Embiid Jokic matchup. Also, if you look at that same rivalry week, they also have one with the San Antonio Spurs, Keith, where the Sixers and the Spurs are part of the rivalry week, and that has everything to do with just two names, Wembanyama and Joel Embiid. That's
Mm-hmm.
it. Otherwise, there is no rivalry with
Yeah,
the San Antonio Spurs and the Philadelphia 76ers. So to your point, they're looking at the individual matchups of what's going to sell, what's going to really hit. Sure, the teams are going to hit, but of course, in this case, it's led by the two players, Wembanyama and Joel Embiid, the MVP, the young up-and-coming guy. How is he going to perform 2 months in or 3 months into his NBA career against the reigning MVP? So that's that right there. To your point again, in that November month where they start off on the road for 2, then they have the next 4, and as you pointed out, 8 of the next 9 are at home over that run, and 2 of them are against Boston. But the other ones, outside of the Phoenix game that you pointed out, they're all winnable. I mean, the Milwaukee game, the Milwaukee game is the opener, but then you have Toronto twice, you have Washington, you have Indiana twice, and while they'll be better, you still believe if the Sixers are at full strength that they should be able to beat the Indiana Pacers in both of those games, which are home and home. Well, 2 home games here in Philadelphia, Sunday and on Tuesday. So, yeah, I look at that, man, and I look at that, and it's a favorable schedule once again, front loaded with those home games for the Sixers. We'll get into that on the other side why it's front loaded home, but there are some good matchups there in that first round, that first part, and I have some highlights for the second, not just with the matchup that the schedule where you talk about it gets tough. I have a few things as to why it will be tough when we get to that. We'll get to that more on the schedule on the other side right here on Locked On 76ers.
Football season is about to kick off, and FanDuel is giving you a chance to win all season long. Because right now, when you bet on a Super Bowl winner, you can get bonus bets every time they win in the regular season. Just pick any team to win the Super Bowl, and you'll get bonus bets for every victory. You can use your bonus bets on spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and start earning bonus bets with America's #1 sportsbook. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. Take some time to visit FanDuel and include money line props, etc. around your team. Now, D, I tell you what, if Jalen Hurts gets hurt this year, boy, you better not bet on the Eagles from what I've been seeing with the backup quarterback, Mario. Whoa, man.
Didn't look good last night.
Nah, he was trash last night. He was horrible last night.
He did not look good last night. But hey,
I thought the game was fixed. It's like, playing. Sorry, he just looked bad. Though.
Yeah, he did not look good. Well, we'll get into that one way or another during the season. I'm sure we'll talk some football even here on this podcast. We thank you for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day. Every day, we'll talk to you on Monday as we talk to you about some more 76ers basketball on Monday here on Locked On 76ers. A couple of things that I wanted to point out from the second part of the segment here as we look at the schedule once again. Let me bring it back up. I have here, Keith, All-Star break. Three games in particular, but 3 teams overall. The 76, 3 teams overall, the Sixers being one of them. The other 2 being Miami before the All-Star break in February.
Mm-hmm.
Last game before the All-Star break. Will Damian Lillard be a part of that Miami team, or will he be a part of that Portland team for game number 3 of the start of the season? That's one. Then the other one is the LA Clippers, where the Sixers play the Clippers both times in March at home, on the road as far as part of a back-to-back as the West Coast trip, 24th and 25th, LA for the Clippers, Sacramento on that Monday the 25th, LA at 12:30 Pacific time, and here the next game, first game back home from that road trip, Clippers on Wednesday night, 7:30 start time. Will James Harden be a part of the Los Angeles Clippers? So right away, those certainly stand out to me when it comes to the Clippers matchup against the 76ers and the Miami Heat, because we don't know Damian Lillard's status. Is he going to be part of the Blazers, or will he be a member of the Heat?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they stand out. Yeah, they do. They do. It'll be exciting if Harden is a Clipper, you know what I mean, at that particular time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at 10, 11, 12. I have 12 back-to-backs on the season, and that seems to be par for the course for where they have been. I have 12 on the season for these 13 back-to-backs on the season for the Sixers. Does that add up for you?
Well, the Sixers said they have 14, but
Okay.
yeah, that said 14. But I didn't go in there and check them out yet to make sure, you know what I mean? So you could be right. But I think it's 14. It's 14.
All right. I'm just double checking. Yeah. 14 it is. Yeah, they're 14. I missed one. 14 back-to-backs. And again, that's right around par for the course for where things have been. Making sure that the NBA is looking to monitor and make sure that not too much of a workload on the players. So 14 back-to-backs on the season. And Keith, for the second half, I'm guessing you were talking about how heavy it is on the road once again for the second year in a row on the back end in March.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. Yeah, and last year it worked out, right? Last year was a
Played
whole
well.
lot easier than what they thought. But typically when you want to play, I mean, I guess when you're a younger team, or a team trying to bond and gel, whatever, you want to play a lot of home games, right? But then early on, and then you get momentum. But a lot of teams, like veteran teams, what they want to do, teams that are basically know they're going to be contending, battling, they don't mind going out on the road earlier, especially if they're playing young teams, right? You load it up against some young teams. That way, at home is all about seeding. You know what I mean? You're up there trying to see what you can do and win a couple games at home, get that home court advantage. But the one good thing about the Sixers, they're going to be well rested. I mean, they're a lot. So it's just, I mean, just being at home and in a comfortable and playing in front of the home crowd where they get a lot of energy at is going to benefit them.
So 17 games in the month of March, similar to what happened in March of the 2021-22 season and 22-23 season. 17 games, 6 at home, 11 on the road. Once again, it's going to be a tough stretch, but they fared well this past season. Similar scenario, and it wasn't, as you said, Keith, wasn't as tough as we thought. In April, 4 home games, 3 road games to close out the campaign. The final game, once again on the road, they'll be in Brooklyn for that regular season finale once again.
Okay. Wow.
Yep. Yeah. So there's that. Of course, Knicks, Celtics, and Nets, Raptors All of those teams, the Sixers will face off 4 times during the year. A few other ones around the Eastern Conference, 3. The normal home and home 1-1s for the splits, and a few of those home and home once again, as we mentioned early. Indiana for the Sixers. They will be out there. And then the 76ers will be on the road for a couple of those home and homes. Once again, they did Charlotte last year, I believe. And this time around, they have the Knicks in March on the 10th and 12th, Sunday and Tuesday. Should be some fun games. They have a good amount of nationally televised games, once again, 20 plus.
Yeah, 29 of them. Yeah.
29, and about 10 of them NBA TV, 19 are ESPN,
It's
ABC, or
like
TNT.
18 of them are and then they have 11 NBA TV. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got you. All right. Well, look, man, I mean, they're good. They're a good basketball team. The schedule is what the schedule is. A couple of highlights, a couple of good games in there, certainly. And it'll all really make sense as the season goes along. So we'll see who they are, how they're playing, and if James Harden is a part of this basketball team as well. So in the final segment, Keith, let's talk about the little nugget that you had about him saying China. Is he going to follow the Steph Marbury road later in his career and go to China and finish out his career? We'll get into that final segment next right here. Locked On 76ers. Welcome back. Keith Pompey, Devon Givens here with you on Locked On 76ers on this Friday. James Harden making waves all week long. It's the number one NBA story around the association. Where is he going to be? Is he going to be here? Calling, of course, his president of basketball operations and former friend, Daryl Morey, a liar twice at an Adidas event in China. He's riding on motorcycles over there. He's selling his wine. He's dancing and doing cartwheels. He's living the life over there. Then he has to come back to reality at some point. But is his reality at some point because of all the love that he has received in China? Keith, you wrote a piece about this. Is China next for him as far as playing basketball over there professionally?
Yeah, you know what? I'll be honest with you. I think he was being a great salesman. I do. Like, I mean, here's the thing. Maybe he could do that, but I also feel like James Harden was there telling the people what they wanted to hear. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, he's selling Adidas. Everybody, you see, everybody was rocking his sneaks. You also like, he sold wine. Like, he sold 16,000 bottles of wine in a matter of minutes. So to me, it's like he was saying that stuff, and who knows, but I don't know. Like, I didn't take it serious. I mean, just because of the situation he's in right now, and that would have to be down the road, big time down the road. Because I don't think the Sixers are going to let him out to go over and play in China right now.
By the way, he can't if he doesn't report, right?
Yeah, he can't.
The CBA, it's not just the NBA. He can't play professionally anywhere.
Yep. So, but they love him over there. He played for the Rockets. Yao Ming played for the Rockets, so they love him. But I don't see it.
I don't see it either. Although it seems like he likes money, I'm sure they would throw a nice chunk of change at him to get him to come over there. Don't you think?
Yeah. But I think he'd probably get bored after a while. Like, after a while. Don't you?
All that adulation, you don't think he'll eat all of that up for? Because I don't know how long their seasons are to even say one way or another that he's going to get bored and not enjoy the experience over there. I don't know that, but I think he'll get enough love from other people, those people over there, and maybe he likes it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he likes it. Who knows, man? But I don't see it happening anytime soon. Let's just say that. Well, let's just say that. All right, man. Well, we'll see what the latest is on Harden. Maybe something pops up over the weekend. If so, we'll certainly bring it to you next week and discuss it here on the podcast. Keith, do you mind letting the good folks know in the meantime where they can find us?
You can find us wherever. I mean, wherever you get your podcasts at. We're free and available. And also, you can go to our YouTube channel and click on Locked On. Once you get to our YouTube channel, Locked On 76ers, what you can do is you click onto the Liberty Bell and you become a new subscriber. In addition to that, when you do that, you'll get notifications. And then on Monday, well, actually tomorrow, you can listen to D on the Divine Givens show. He's on there from Mondays through Fridays, and he'll be on from 6 to 10 p.m., right? Back on his regular shift tomorrow, 6 to 10 p.m. So listen to D. And also follow my man on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. D likes to call it Twitter still.
Still Twitter.
And it seems like here we're still Twitter based off of what you see underneath us. So at Divine G975, you can follow me at Pompey on Sixers. And you can read my articles in the Philadelphia Inquirer.
Absolutely, man. Well, listen, have a great rest of your weekend, man. Everybody out there, you guys be safe, enjoy it, and we will talk to you on Monday.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
All right. Peace. Bye.